welcome to our Thriving Tribe, the Zoom Room sessions. I'm David Francis Moore, and this is my colleague, Juliette Harvey. Hi. And today we are with Felicia Olusany, aka Felispeaks. Hi, Feli. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Good. Yeah, good to see you.
Ooh, a professional artist. I think I've actually just been reminded about it recently. I found somebody asked me about an old video of mine that from my performance from the night in the Key of 8 during the Repeal Project.
Okay.
And they asked me for the Who March Was video, and I was like looking for it everywhere. And I was like, when I found it, I was like, whoa, that was like one of my that was one of my first professional gigs. And I was like, I think after that gig, I realized that I was a professional artist. And I realized that people actually like my stuff. People actually want to pay me for my stuff. I think that day, definitely, because I was asked to be a part of something so important. And I was like, I couldn't possibly be asked to be part of this without being a professional artist, you know?
Yeah.
I think I just wanted to be part of the culture. I just wanted to be part of the artist culture. I wanted to be part of poets to be remembered or to just be considered. And I didn't have any long-term goals, truthfully. I think I had short-term goals. I had a lot of short-term goals. And at that point, my biggest short-term goal was just to be involved, to be part of the community, to be part of the culture. And I think I've done that successfully.
Yeah, you have. You certainly have.
I love it. I think it's unique still. Whenever you're like, oh, I'm a professional artist, I usually have a few eyebrow raises, a few giggles, a few, well, that's interesting, a few, what's your real job? A few, what do you do for an actual living? And I think I've begun to kind of embrace the whole process of the disgruntled or the mischievous look everybody gives me whenever I say it, especially when you're speaking to non-artists. You just kind of get it, all right then.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, okay.
You have a great hobby, you know? But I enjoy it, and I love proving people wrong. I love the fact that I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, that I love, and able to sustain some form of a living from it. It is so cool, for me anyway. Getting fed, that's a good one. It's like motivating me to keep working, just the fact that I have me and me alone to rely on. That's one thing. And secondly, because it's a passion of mine, it's a burning thing in my chest. I can't not create. It's my lifeline, both literally and figuratively. And so that's my biggest motivation for it. I think collaboration is essential for every artist. Just one, because you can't go too far by yourself. It's really difficult, and it's a really lonely journey. That's one. But secondly, collaboration has given me the gift of knowledge, just because it's a case of when I'm doing work by myself, I'm pulling from my own well of memories, from my own well of knowledge. But when I'm collaborating, I always end up leaving the collaboration with such beautiful insights, such nuggets of knowledge that propels me further than I ever thought I would go. Like, each collaboration pushes me twice as far, because I've just soaked up, not like a parasite or nothing, it's very symbiotic, but I've soaked up knowledge and vibrancy from other people, and I'm like, okay, this person that I collaborated with that way has given me this kind of vision or this kind of ideas, or has colored my art in a way. And that is so essential, because then you just kind of end up creating the same things over and over again. Or even if you don't create the same things over and over again, you kind of hit a bump in the road, like mentally, because where your art comes from is your life, your passions, yourself. And if you don't have any other influences, it becomes really hard to keep creating, you know? And so collaboration does that for me, like helps me keep creating, keeps me fresh. I'm like, what are y'all thinking about? What are you thinking about? Oh, okay, pour into me so I can pour back into you.
Yeah. And then you have like that connection to culture, because you're always on the cusp of like kind of like what's happening, and you're conscious all the time.
Exactly. And even if it's not a case of that, you use whatever the influences that they give you, you at least understand their influences a bit better, and you have an appreciation for their work and their art and how they put their work into the culture, which is beautiful. I think creativity and like valuing others and valuing other people's inputs. Creativity is a big thing because you need several influences. I say it all the time. And as a poet, I'm not the kind of poet, and not that there's anything wrong with those kinds, but I'm not the kind of poet that only listens to poetry. I think I need everything. So sometimes it could be a case of like, I'm wrestling with a concept, and I'm like, I'm wrestling with the concept of like, maybe authority, or I'm wrestling with the concept of like hierarchy. And my partner could be like, okay, I'm going to show you The Godfather 1, 2, and 3 over the weekend. Like, those are the kinds of things that like I would have to map out. So like, I'm wrestling with this concept. What can I feed my brain in order to explore that idea or explore that concept, and how creative can I get with that? So it could be a case of, like I mentioned, that's actually a thing recently. I was just wrestling with the idea of like hierarchy, and like, I think an interesting approach was like watching The Godfather and watching like mafia relations and how group settings work, and like even watching documentaries about wolves and animal instincts. And I love wolves, that's my shit. So just like watching different things and taking in a documentary, taking in a music video, taking in something that I might not even be interested in at all, but that sounds really cool. And then I will just zap. Sorry, I'm making sound effects. I'm into it now.
No, I know. Like, I'm used to this.
Like, zap all those influences into my creativity. And there's no way that creativity doesn't leak into one another, if that makes sense. And I think that's the most important thing for me as an entrepreneur, because you have to stay fresh, you have to stay on your feet. And the best way to do that is to up your game creatively.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say there are two different ways, because the creative process and then the bringing the creative process to the audience, I'd say there would be different processes, but they're all a creative process. So like my writing process or the creating the art process could be really different it's definitely different, and it's different each time depending on what I'm making. So if I'm making a poetry play, my process could be completely different from if I'm writing 17 poems for what's it called, Island Performs, you know what I mean? Or if I'm doing stand-up poetry for 20 minutes, my process is different, and how I market it to my audience per project would be different. So for instance, how I would sell or give my stand-up poetry to my audience, it would be, I would tailor it to the audience. I would tailor it to the mood. I'll tailor it to the venue. I'll tailor it to the theme. So like if I had, for instance, that stand-up poetry, if I was to be told, you have 20 minutes to do stand-up poetry, and it's on the theme of homelessness, and it's going to be in Vicar Street. So now those three things I have to tailor the 20 minutes for those three things. So I'm thinking, what kind of audience would be in Vicar Street? The kind of audience that would be in Vicar Street, in my opinion, is different from the kind of audience that would be in Workman's Club.
Okay.
So I'm tailoring it to the audience members, the mood, as well as the theme, as well as what do I want the audience to feel? How do I want the audience to receive this information? Do I want a serious mood? Do I want to leave them feeling heavy and concerned? Do I want them to have concern but feel lighthearted and hopeful? Like, all those things are tailored differently, and that's just one project. So like, definitely each time when I'm creating, I do keep my audience in mind, but how I give it to my audience, one could be planned and then slightly altered for the day. Because as soon as you get on stage, everybody knows as soon as you get on stage, you feel what your audience needs, and that's what you have to deliver. I've had moments where I've changed out a poem in the middle of a stand-up thing, because I'm like, this doesn't fit the mood. My audience needs to be taken care of better than this, or this might, because now so far the energy is so thick, 3 poems deep. Maybe I should say a lighthearted poem in case I break them, you know? Yeah, do you know? Like, so those are different. Whereas a poetry play is set in stone. It's already going to happen no matter what. And now it's a case of what type of place are we pre-planning to put my audience in? So there are moments where you can pre-plan what to do with your audience, and there's moments where it's on the fly. But either way, the creative process is about how creative you are as a person, because you can't plan every type of creativity. So typically I would make my work on the kitchen table.
Okay.
So the kitchen table is kind of my zone. As soon as I'm sitting down on the kitchen table with the laptop in front of me and my notes copy and 1,000 pens, I'm ready to go. If I'm not sitting out on the kitchen table, I would probably be lying down on my bed. Yeah. And then it would be a case of like, I'm typing out bits and pieces of words, but I'm the kind of artist that has to write things down with my fingertips. Like, I have to feel the burn of the pen against my flipping thumb. So like, kitchen table or laying down on my bed, jot down ideas. Okay. Also, alternatively, when the mood strikes me and the weather is great, there's kind of like this pathway behind my house. It's really pretty. I call it Narnia. And it's like a golf course. It's a field. And I find a tree, I perch, get out my copy, and I go to writing. So it's either by nature or by my kitchen table. Okay. This is interesting because it's also something that I was working through, thinking about last night. So generally, I market my work on Instagram, on Facebook, so just to get the general gist of the people following me, so the people following me can get the general gist of what I'm doing. Yeah. But most of the time, because I think my Instagram and my Facebook is a lot of young people, it's a lot of people that are similar age to me, maybe slightly older. My Facebook maybe slightly older. But I think my main audiences get a dope of me. A dope of me? Oh, a dose? A dope of me, a dose of me. You know what? That's a double entendre because dopamine. Okay? Okay. So they'll get a dose of me like on radio, articles, interviews. So that's where I try to push a lot of my work right outside of my like personal circles, like Instagram and Facebook. Because another thing I've noticed with my Instagram and Facebook is that it's all well and good, but like when you start tracking analytics, when you start tracking likes, who's liking this, you get paranoid. You get into a frenzy. You get into, nobody's looking at my stuff. Only 50 people watched today. Like, and it's hellish because I've realized And it took me a while to realize that a lot of my followers on Facebook and Instagram, though they're amazing, but I wouldn't even say 50% of my followers come to my show. Do you get what I mean? And I'm like, oh.
So it's like you exist out in this digital space as well.
Yeah, like I exist in this digital space, but that's not where my most influences are. And like quarantine has helped me realize that like I pay a lot of attention to my social media, but I didn't realize how much going outside and networking and getting on stage and meeting like my audience members face to face was actually where my audience is. Like I would see my Instagram page and I'm like, I'm looking at everybody following me versus when I'm doing a poetry play or when I'm performing a show and I'm looking at the audience and I'm like, who are y'all? Who are you people? You know, I don't recognize anybody at all. And it's both like really, really cool and kind of weird because it's hard to predict. Like the lights come on at one of my shows, I'm like, it's an audience of like 30 to 40-year-olds. And that's not even a negative thing, but I'm like, my Facebook is like 20-something-year-olds all together, or like my Instagram is a bunch of, you know, half of them are my friends and acquaintances and friends of friends.
Yeah.
It's an interesting kind of space to be in. I think I'm making work for a range of people. And I say a range of people because I meet a range of people that are influenced by my work. So like I'm a Black girl living in Dublin City. And so I could influence Black girls. I could influence just Black people in general. I could influence just women. And then I could influence Irish people or Dubliners. And then there's so many parts of me and parts of my work that I think influences like a range of people. But I just always find that maybe, and this is not even like boasting or whatever, like maybe the depth of my work appeals more to older people. Mm-hmm. So like I'm creating work for people that feel like me, look like me, act like me, and are inspired by me and have similar experiences to me. So like there's layers under that. So there's, like I already mentioned, there's Black people, then there's Black girls, then there's just women, then there's Irish people, then there's bisexual people, then there's like, you know, people with anxiety, people with issues, people that are dealing with what the fuck does love mean, you know? There's all these layers of who I am that appeals to a range of people, and I think the range of people just always surprises me. That's what it is. I think at first, truthfully, it was just like I'd get something coming in. Like, so a gig would come in that would, a gig begetting another gig, if that makes sense.
Work begets work.
Yeah, for like the first year or two, it was just work begets work, and I was content with that. I was content with the natural flow of just being in the culture, being in the scene, and just being respected enough to be given work. I was like, wow, I'll take it, you know? Yeah. And then it became a case of, okay, now, after kind of like, you know, just, I was young when I started. I started out at like 19, and it was kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Sure, I remember when we started working together, like even at that stage, and that's a few years ago, you were like, oh my God, this person wants me to do a gig. Oh my God, this person wants me to do a gig. And you were like, your mind was blown.
I was like,
of course. Yeah.
Who are these people asking me to do stuff? Like that is, I was like I think the Irish scene nurtured and validated me so much. Like, I think they picked me up and they were like, this girl has something, let's give her something. Do you know what I mean? Let's help nurture that. And I don't think, obviously, as individuals, everybody thought that, but as a collective, as a group, as Irish arts, like, I feel like I was nurtured for the first 2 years. And I felt like after I got a lot of the milk, I started eating from it, if that makes sense. I started deciding what art I wanted to make. I started being intentional. I started using my voice more specifically. I was like, okay, not only am I writing, like, obviously I'm getting these gigs off of the poems that come out of my head, but now not only just the poems that come out of my head, how I want to structure it, who I'm trying to give it to, what message I'm trying to send. So I started being more specific, more deliberate, more intentional. I just said the same word 3 times, 3 different ways. Can you tell I'm an artist? More deliberate each time. And now it's like, okay, I am not just waiting for gigs to come in. I'm creating alongside that. And yeah, I think that's part of the continuous begetting of gigs. Just the fact that I'm more secure in what I want to create. Those moments of inspiration, finding it in Dublin is amazing. Like, I see a dancer and I'm like, how you bend your neck like that?
So you think Irish culture, the Irish society
yes,
supports you in terms of its ability to inspire?
Space. Yes, like I think Irish culture has space for creativity. I think that is one thing that we're struggling with, space, but it is there. Like, we're struggling with like Dublin closing down places that have cultural significance, and it freaking sucks. But but the spaces that are there, they are there. The spaces that are open, they are open. And like, I am beyond grateful for that. Like, just to name a few, Dublin Fringe, like, grateful for them. Like, Project Arts, grateful for them. Like, Workman's Club, grateful for them. Like, incredible spaces like Smock Alley, wow. Like, when these spaces open up, they open up for artists. And when in terms of inspiration, like, you meet artists every day that blow your mind. Like, in terms of opportunities, I get the craziest people in my emails. Like, I get people that I know I will not benefit you, sir. This is not, you know what I mean? But people will come into your emails with opportunities, with gigs. They're like, if you want this, let's collaborate. If you want that, let's collaborate. The only thing that I think is missing in the Irish art scene right now in terms of helping artists to thrive is money. If we're being bloody honest, we need money. Like, we need money. Like, in terms of funding, in terms of just keeping us alive, damn it. Like, you can give me a great opportunity and it looks great on paper, but if it doesn't pay my bills, bro, like, what are we doing? Why is it not sustainable? Even just hearing about and I know this is Pop Baby commented on it, 1 million euro in funding. It's embarrassing. Come on. I mean, I know we're a small country, but I mean, Scotland has more money than we do. Like, we're worth investing into, and I wish that it would take more than a pandemic or before a pandemic before we could see that, you know? Well, they usually say necessity is the mother of invention, right? And if you don't get fed as an artist, you will try and create ways to feed yourself. That's just what it is. And I think if you're an artist, you're already creative, and you will find even more creative ways to feed yourself, especially if you're determined, especially if it's what you want to do with your life. And the best way that I found that we do this is with the collaboration. It's with the connecting with another artist. It's with the, like, okay, you can do this, you can do that, I can do this, you can do that. Can we all come together and try and make money as a group? So we have more of a chance of pulling money as a group than individually. Yeah. So, like, I think artists, being creatives, have decided that if I'm not going to have an opportunity given to me, I'm going to find a way to create it. And because, there's already space for it. And that's the reason why there's a lot of us as well, are not one-trick ponies either.
Yeah.
And that's part of the not being fed. If you ask a lot of these artists that are doing 2-3 types of jobs, if they had a choice, they'd be doing one. Like nobody wants to be stretched out, flat out, tired every day. Like nobody wants to do that. I remember at some point, and I know it's like baby steps, and I know it's progress steps or whatever. Like, I mean, at some point I was working a full-time job, doing a part-time master's and doing full-time poetry. And that shit will wreck your head. But it's what you have to do to get fed. And then like even the master's that I took was part of my my gateway into entrepreneurship, because I studied public relations and communication studies. Because I was like, I need to be able to navigate this. I need to be able to sell myself. I need to be able to get into a space and know exactly what the hell a PR team means, or what's it called, a media statement is, or what the hell that means. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to walk into a room as an artist and not know at least a little bit about what everybody else will be doing for me, because that's how you get sold and bought in a sack and don't even know.
So it was able to make decisions, have autonomy over your work, be informed.
Yeah, absolutely, be informed. So we basically raise money from one project to put into another, and then at the end of that, get paid. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like a labor of love thing. As a group, as individuals, we're making our money in whatever kind of artwork that comes in. The other lads have full-time jobs, so they don't have my struggle. But in the best ways I can, I try and feed myself with my own personal work. But then as a group, as we are Griot, like we're basically raising money. We do this gig, raise money. We do this gig, raise money. Like, and it's incredible because we're like pushing ourselves to just be like, just ask. We're gonna ask these people, like, would you like to partner with us for this? Would you like to get involved with us for this? So again, collaboration, because then you collaborate, or you ask somebody obviously above you, like, hi, we can bring you this product if you could pay us this money. And then raise money for, use that to raise money for like poetry plays, to create art that we want to be more impactful to the community. Does that make sense? So that's I see it in your work. That's our current approach. And it might not be as sustainable as we'd like it to be, but it's damn sure working right now. And it really is less of a headache than filling out an application form that we're not going to get money from.
I can sense your anger very loud and clear.
Being an entrepreneur as an artist, I suppose it looks like being taken seriously. It looks like putting a business frame around a creative core. And I think that's where a lot of us fall short, because we're great at all the creativity, we're great about all the creating the art, and then we're like, how do you write a contract? What does that mean? Things like that. And it becomes quite unfortunate, because then we hand off our powers in a way to other people to lead for us. And that can be dangerous if you're not aware, or if you're not informed, like you said. And so I think entrepreneurship in the arts looks like putting on a business suit on a creative core. And you have to be able to wear both hats every time you need it. And it's basically, it's giving yourself safety as well, because what if you can't afford an agent? What if you can't afford a manager? It is giving yourself safety to fall on yourself, to be able to pick yourself up, and to know where exactly you are at all times. I am a great communicator.
Okay, number one.
I think I'm a great communicator. 2, relatable.
Okay.
Shit. I make you laugh. I'm relatable. Great communicator, relatable. What's the word? Savvy.
So
savvy.
Able to communicate, relatable, and savvy. 3 keywords, perfect.
Yes, definitely. I've gotten into a space where I don't create to not get paid anymore. I think even if something is a great cause, well, actually, unless it's like really important cause, yeah. But even if something is like a great idea, woo, like I don't get fed on great ideas. I've learned to be realistic. I've learned to not accept crumbs. I've learned, like, it really sounds like in the Irish society, things I'm saying sound really like, oh, who do you think you are? Really. But I've just been like, you know what, screw it. Like, this is about me, and I need to make sure I'm okay because I've worked too hard to get here, and then accept crumbs. So what I do now is, even if I get a gig, like, let's say in the next 2 weeks, I don't have a job, right? I don't have work.
Yeah.
And I get a gig today, and it's for less than what my benchmark is, I will not accept it. That is it. I don't think it's fair on myself. I don't think it's fair on that person, because then they're gonna hear, okay, well, Felicia accepted this amount of money. Why would she accept this amount of money? It becomes a case of like, and because the art scene in Ireland is very, very small, everything's word of mouth, everybody knows everybody. If I accept a shit amount of money from you, you are going to tell Mr. Y, and then Mr. Y is going to come into my email and give me a shit amount of money.
Like, she's cheap. No.
Exactly. And they might be like, they genuinely might be like, oh my God, your work is incredible. But if they can get away with paying you pennies, they will. Just realize thank you is not going to do anything for you. Like, you can, and that you can still be in good graces with people and still demand your value.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you get respect for demanding your value, in my opinion. Well, when other people demand your value, I respect them for it. I'm learning the art of negotiation. I'm still learning how to negotiate. But the crazy thing is, it's so fearful. Like, you get so fearful about like asking more for more as an artist. Like, if you check any other sector, negotiation is like standard. You're going into a job interview. Let's say they're picking you and they're like, you're awesome. And another offer says, you're awesome. And they give you 2 different prices. You leverage one for the other. And you're like, okay, this person is paying me this, so give me that amount of money, you know? But as an artist, you're just like, thanks. You're just grateful because there isn't even there isn't even a specific benchmark on like every poet in this country should not accept less than this amount of money.
Yeah.
There isn't even that standard created. We don't even have that. That's why people are taking us for the mick. Like, it's ridiculous. Ooh, David with the questions. Do you know what? Yeah, I would. Because right now I do it like a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah, I'm like, I have to do this. Okay, like I literally have to set a time for it, or I will lose my marbles, or I would just not reply emails. And I hate when other people don't reply my emails like within 3 days. Hey man, what are you doing? But I'll be that person that's like, ooh, I hope they forgive me. Ooh, sorry for the
that's kind of like all the unseen work. Do you account for that in when you charge your fee? You just charge your fee for the event, and like is all this like unseen work, do you account for it in your costs, or is it just something that's part of what you do? Generally,
no, I don't account for admin at all. My fees are generally about the time it'll take me to create and the time it's already taking me to get the skills that I have.
Yeah.
Those are basically my 2 markers for my fee. And then if it's a performance thing, that would be added on as well. But generally, admin work, me replying your emails. Do you know,
marketing.
Until you said this, I never thought about it as something worth charging for, as like a separate thing. Like me replying emails.
I mean, in other sectors, people get paid for administration.
It's crazy.
Some sectors, people get really well paid for administration.
Yes, definitely.
Why?
Because it will protect you. Because artists are great at knowing about arts and not about anything else. And if you get into the world of entrepreneurship and you start like managing how you create around the whole sector, it will protect you like for more than anything else, more than just, being able to know what somebody's talking about or being informed. It will protect you from being ripped to shreds, because genuinely you can't operate on everybody's good graces. You can't operate on, yeah, he'll pay me. Like, you can't operate on wishful thinking. It just doesn't work. You get screwed over. So understanding entrepreneurship as a concept will help protect you. Maybe if you, like in university, maybe universities inviting people that have done the course and have gone on to do something with their lives. Like, I've seen real life examples of things, put things into perspective really quickly. You're like, okay, if it's for you, straight away it's for you. If it's not, you're like, bye, let me go, instead of wasting your time. So like, seeing real life examples of like why I'm studying this and what it looks like in the real world, and it not be a joke, because currently, like, it's a running meme when people are like, I have an arts degree, and everybody laughs. They're like, haha, you're gonna work at McDonald's. Like, flipping hell, like, it's rude. And just, giving it more value. And it's not even just that it's called specific things like English and sociology degree, or a French and law degree. No, they call it the arts degree. They are giving it a shit name.
What should they call it?
Like, not even that, like, not call it an arts degree, but like, you're attaching these degrees to the arts, so thereby denigrating the arts by it not being valuable.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So having like real life value shown in front of us about what these degrees are, like what it's going to do in the real world and what it's doing for people right now. That's what I like to share.
And on that note, thank you so much, Feli.
Thank you.
Speaks, for joining us on the Zoom room sessions today.
Yay, it was awesome.
Yeah. If you want to hear more about Felispeaks, give us your handles.
Felispeaks on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. But don't tweet me.
Thanks a million, Feli.
Thanks, David. Thanks,
Bye.
Juliet.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.